Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thaplial. And yes, the wait is still on. Now at 6:04, India is waiting for yet another historic moment where Chandrayaan-3 is almost ready to land on moon. And yes, we'll be getting all the latest coverage on this on ET now. But then let's move on and let's take the show ahead on The Money Show today. We'll be talking about your long-term investment in a mutual fund. So proper financial planning is the right way to achieve any financial goal with a proper strategy. And when we talk of investing, a lot of emphasis is given on investment duration. Investors should clarify their goals as short-term or long-term, definitely. And it's often said that for life crucial goals, one should have a long-term strategy to reap the benefits of compounding and so on. The show today, or the discussion now, will be focusing on the importance of staying invested in a mutual fund for a long-term period. We are joined by Gautam Kalia, Senior Vice President and Head Super Investor at Sharekhan by BNP Paribas. Gautam, good evening and welcome to the show. So a lot of time when we talk about being invested in an investment instrument for a long period of time, Gautam, it sounds very boring because investors they all want to make a quick buck and just come out of the investment, use the money, and then maybe come back to it again. But then long-term investment, it needs patience, it needs discipline, and it is also boring. How would you like to explain this concept, not only for investors to understand the kind of profit or rewarding benefit that they would have, but how being invested in a long-term investment duration, for a long-term investment duration in any investment instrument also makes you a very disciplined investor, thereby leading you on your path of financial freedom.
Right. Thanks, Kavita, for bringing this topic because it's an extremely important topic, very close to my heart. So, Carl Richards, famous author who's writes in the New York Times and has published many books on investment, says that long-term investing is like watching grass grow. And it came to mind because you, in your opening, you said that it's very boring a couple of times, and actually, it is very boring. Was just sitting and watching grass grow. So that's the example that sprung to mind, and that's really what long-term investing is about. And the problem really is that as an investor, you need to understand who you are. You need to know thyself. The stock market, for example, is made up of investors and traders. And the mistake that people make is when traders try to become investors and investors try to become traders. And that's really where we make mistakes. And we need to be very clear as to what portion of a portfolio is going to be an investor, because an investor essentially is viewing, for example, if you're investing in stocks, you're viewing buying a business, and you're owning a piece of business, and you're actually growing your wealth in accordance with an owner of that piece of business. And really, that's the view, that there is something inherent of value in what you're investing in, and that value is increasing on a regular basis. While traders looking more at chasing momentum, seeing that where is the smart money coming in, where is all the trades happening, where is the big money coming in, what are the different reasons why money is chasing a particular stock or exiting a particular stock. So really, the long-term investing, so much has been said about the power of compounding, but it also, and let me just underscore the power of compounding here, because human beings are not able to think in exponential terms. Linear thinking comes very naturally to us. So for us to be able to, we need to be re-explain the power of compounding with different examples continually to kind of make sure that we remember it. And the other one obviously is risk. That you end up reducing risk the longer you stay invested, especially, for example, in the stock market, because it's like looking at a graph of the stock price movement, and you'll see the graph going up and down very drastically. And as you zoom out of that graph, when you look at the longer time period, maybe you don't look at a week or a month, and instead you start looking at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, that's when you'll see that those zigzags seem to disappear and the line becomes almost straight. And that's really what happens. The smoothing effect of larger time horizons ends up reducing the volatility of investments and reducing the risk that you take as an investor. So these are the two key reasons why long-term investing, is beneficial, and why you should seriously consider a portion of your portfolio to be allocated to this.
Right, right. That's beautifully explained by you, Gautam. But then I also want you to explain our viewers the technical aspect of it, okay? If you are invested, let's say, in a mutual fund, which is usually recommended for a goal that you have lined up, a very important life goal of yours, how does it technically benefit you to stay disciplined, in your investment for a longer period of time?
Okay, so if you're not disciplined, what does that mean? What is the behavior you are displaying when you're not disciplined? Means that you are withdrawing the money before you've achieved your goal. You are trying to time the market, where you're trying to put in investments at perceived bottoms, and you start anticipating what the market will do. And in that thought process, or in that mindset, then an investor is trying to act like a trader, and that's really where you make a mistake, because one needs to understand that you can't really time the market, and study upon study shows that that investment return is higher than investor return. It's because of these behaviors where we try to time the market. So when the market is at an all-time high and you are second guessing, saying that it can't go any higher than this, and you withdraw your investments, then it becomes too late. We saw so many clients take that decision during COVID, when the market fell, corrected by 40% in a couple of weeks, and a lot of clients withdrew their money, saying that this is a free fall and it will go even further. So they stepped away from the disciplined approach, because the market has seen all ups and downs over the last 20-30 years. You name it, how many wars, how many global financial crises, you can name whatever you want. And after that, the bounce back, because the market bounced back so quickly, a lot of investors were left with cash, saying that, okay, now it's too expensive, maybe we'll wait for it to correct, and then that time never came back. And the people who stayed invested, who stayed disciplined, who stayed true to their course, they were able to capture that upswing as well. So really, what you need to understand is that when markets, and especially if you start tracking bull markets, you start tracking where the returns are coming from. Now, gradually, you'll see that more and more returns are being generated in shorter periods of time, which means that earlier bull runs, and the return would generate over 6-7 months of upward momentum. Now it happens in spurts of 2-3 weeks, and really it's a few trading sessions where a lot of the majority of the returns are being generated, and this is, you can see for the last 4-5 years in the stock market, that's what seems to be happening. And if you want to capture those 2-3 weeks, you have to stay invested. So each week is important, because you never know which is that one week where you will capture that upside.
Right, right. So specifically talking about mutual funds, Gautam, is this the only investment instrument where you should be parked in for long term, or this is the instrument where if you want to reap the benefits, long term is the way to go for it?
So, a mutual fund by its very design is a long-term wealth creation tool, and that's why it's synonymous with long-term investing. You're essentially relying on someone who's building a portfolio of stocks, and rebalancing that portfolio of stocks from time to time in equity mutual fund. Similarly, on the debt side, on the debt mutual fund, if they are, let's say, a accrual fund, they're simply holding a basket of fixed income securities with minor modifications there till maturity, and replenishing that basket continually. But you can look at, for example, other investments also as long term. So they are insurance linked products, they are fixed deposits. There's so many, recurring deposits. So even traditional options like that have been essentially LIC products, from 20 years back. Real estate investment, there's so many other investments that can be viewed and treated as a long-term investment. Mutual funds obviously are now the most popular and well advertised and recognized as a long-term wealth creation tool.
Exactly. All right, so these are the benefits for staying invested for a long period of time in a mutual fund or in any other investment instrument. All you have to do is just do a little bit of homework on your financial goals, and then that's the way to go ahead on it. We'll slip into a short break, but then post that, let's focus on our viewer queries, and we'll be joined by our viewers. But in the meantime, if you are someone who wants to ask their financial planning question or anything related to your investment, you can send us your question on our WhatsApp number, which is 865-797 and 4571. And you can also email us your queries on themoneyshow@etnow.tv. So let's meet you again after this break. Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal, and there are a plethora of funds available in the market to invest your hard-earned money in. But how do you assess which is the right fund for your portfolio? What are the criteria that one should look at to help you navigate through this maze? We have on board Gautam Kalia, Senior Vice President and Head Super Investor at Sharekhan by BNP Paribas. Also, do not forget to send us your portfolio queries on our WhatsApp number, which is 865-797-4571. You can also email us your queries on themoneyshow@etnow.tv. So let's move on, and I have our first viewer online, Alkesh Mehta. मेहता जी नमस्कार, कहाँ से बोल रहे हैं आप?
मैम मैं जोधपुर से बात कर रहा हूँ।
अच्छा, धन्यवाद, आपने अपना सवाल हमें भेजा। बताइए, आपका जो मौजूदा पोर्टफोलियो है उसमें आपने काफ़ी सारे फंड्स, मेरे ख्याल से 9 फंड्स इकट्ठा कर रखे हैं।
मैम 13 फंड्स है, अराउंड
13 फंड्स हैं
13 फंड्स है एंड अराउंड 30 लाख का अभी पोर्टफोलियो साइज है। 10 ईयर से इन्वेस्टिंग कर रहे हैं म्यूचुअल फंड में, लेकिन अब मुझे क्या रिस्ट्रक्चर करना है पोर्टफोलियो को, क्योंकि थोड़ा स्कीम्स को रिड्यूस करना है। क्योंकि पहले जब इन्वेस्ट करते थे तो जैसे जैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर बताते थे उस हिसाब से करते थे, लेकिन अब वो इतने सारे स्कीम्स हो गए हैं तो वी आर वो थोड़ा केओस हो गया है, तो उससे रिटर्न भी इफेक्ट हो रहा है। तो आई वांट टू नो हाउ टू रिस्ट्रक्चर और कौन सी स्कीम सही रहेंगे कंटिन्यू करना और कौन से नहीं।
कहाँ से सलाह लेके आपने ये फंड्स डाले हैं पोर्टफोलियो में?
सॉरी,
कहाँ से सलाह ली आपने? आपने किसी आर्थिक सलाहकार से सलाह ली है या आपने खुद इन फंड्स को पोर्टफोलियो में डाला है?
नो मैम, ये कोई हमारे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर है फाइनेंस एडवाइजर, वो ही हमें बताते हैं उस हिसाब से।
अच्छा, चलिए, तो एक तरह से आपके फाइनेंशियल एडवाइज़र का भी टेस्ट है जो आप हमारे ज़रिए करवाना चाहते हैं। तो गौतम, बताइए, इनके फाइनेंशियल एडवाइज़र क्या इस इम्तिहान में पास होते हैं या फेल?
पास होते हैं, मगर पास विद डिस्टिंक्शन की नहीं, वो आई लेट यू डिसाइड मेहता जी। आई सी कि आपके पोर्टफोलियो में थोड़े से चेंजेस आप कर सकते हैं। इशू मेरे लिए यही है कि आपने अमाउंट्स नहीं बताए, तो I have not been able to decide basis allocation. I've only been able to decide basis the scheme that you mentioned. तो HSBC लार्ज एंड मिड कैप का जो फंड है वो आप शिफ्ट कर सकते हैं टू SBI लार्ज एंड मिड कैप, जो आपकी ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग एक स्कीम है। फिर आपका एक्सेस लॉन्ग टर्म इक्विटी जो है दैट यू कैन शिफ्ट, अगर आपका 3 साल कंप्लीट हो गया, टू द फ्लेक्सी कैप स्कीम ऑफ HDFC फ्लेक्सी कैप। आपकी एक एग्जिस्टिंग स्कीम है UTI वैल्यू अपॉर्चुनिटी, वो आप शिफ्ट कर सकते हैं निपॉन इंडिया मल्टी कैप में। एंड लास्ट आपका जो आदित्य बिरला सनलाइट फ्रंटलाइन इक्विटी फंड है, वो आप शिफ्ट कर सकते हैं ICICI प्रूडेंशियल ब्लू चिप फंड में। ब्लू चिप हम इसलिए बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि आई डोंट सी एनी ब्लू चिप। सॉरी, एक और चीज आप कर सकते हैं, आपका एक्सिस मिड कैप एंड DSP मिड कैप में जो दो हैं, वो दोनों आप शिफ्ट कर सकते हैं कोटक इमर्जिंग इक्विटी फंड में। तो वो दोनों इन्वेस्टमेंट से मर्ज हो जाती है, तो एक और स्कीम वहां पे कम हो जाएगी।
चलिए, कोई और सवाल आपको पूछना है गौतम से?
हाँ मैम, एक क्वेश्चन है कि मतलब मेरा अभी नेक्स्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट टेन्योर 10 ईयर्स का है, तो अब अराउंड अभी तक तो 13.5% कैगर आया है, तो अराउंड 15% कैगर के लिए मुझे क्या करना होगा?
गौतम,
आप ऐसे करिए मिस्टर मेहता कि आपके फंड्स ठीक है, आपका रिटर्न भी ठीक है, और आपको जो एक्सपेक्टेशन है रिटर्न की थोड़ी सी ज्यादा ही चाहिए। आप अपना पोर्टफोलियो स्कीम का सिलेक्शन पे थोड़ा सा और ध्यान दीजिए, वंस अ ईयर एटलीस्ट रीबैलेंस के लिए देख लीजिए। कौन से स्कीम्स को निकालना है, कौन से स्कीम में डालना है, वो आप फ्रीक्वेंटली करते रहेंगे तो आपका उतना हो सकता है। दो हम हमेशा 12% पे ही प्रोजेक्ट करते हैं, बट वो आप थोड़ा सा रेगुलरली करेंगे डिसिप्लिन मैनर में तो आपका रिटर्न ज्यादा आ सकता है।
All right. All the best, Mr. Mehta, for your investment portfolio. But we move on, and I have Mr. Yogesh on phone line with me. Yogesh, hi. Good evening. How are you doing?
Hi, good evening. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for sending us your query. And a very interesting question. You want to know that with growth option, are you paid dividend or not on your mutual fund schemes?
Yes.
What are the schemes that
Actually,
you
I have
currently
one.
have in your portfolio? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I have a specific query on a fund like ICICI Prudential Technology Fund. Suppose I have a
Okay.
technology fund and that is under growth option. Okay. So, in technology fund, most of the IT companies would be sharing the dividends, right?
Sure.
So,
Okay.
if we take that fund, then how does this dividend pays to do they pay to us?
Very good question, and I think this will also benefit a lot of investors who, when buying a mutual fund scheme, need to consider what kind of a plan and what kind of a selection they are going from. So, Gautam, it's not only the growth option that I think we should be discussing on. Let's talk about the variety of options which, as per a mutual fund scheme, you're offered.
Yeah. So, Yogesh, thank you for this question. So, obviously you have the dividend option, which is reinvestment and paid out, and you've got the growth option in most mutual funds. And what you're looking for is really an answer to what happens to the dividend of the stocks. So, especially when you're investing in a growth. So, in the question assumes that when you're investing in the dividend option of a mutual fund scheme, then the dividends are naturally passed on. So really what happens is that in the growth option, and especially with, let's say, ICICI Technology Fund as an example, the dividends that are received at the fund level, at the scheme level, whether it's in the form of stocks or in the form of cash, that money is put back into the fund, and on a daily basis, the NAV of the fund is calculated, and that value is added to the total asset value of the fund. So you don't get the payout in your bank, but the NAV grows by that amount every time that payout happens at the fund level. And that money then is redeployed because you have gone into the growth option. If you went into the dividend option, the money is paid from the pool of money collected as dividends over uh, over a period of time that the scheme has a running pool, and from there the dividend is paid out, in which all these dividends and other capital gains that the fund manager has been able to capture, those are pooled and then paid out from there. So really, there is this layer where the money doesn't come directly to you, but it basically gets plowed back into the fund.
All right. I hope Yogesh just answers your question. And with that, thank you so much, Gautam, for being on the show today and helping our viewers with their financial planning queries.